The global population is expected to surpass 9 billion by 2050. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, estimates that this will lead to a 60% increase in demand for high-quality and affordable protein, such as milk, meat, and eggs. This increase in demand will have to be met by production systems that are environmentally friendly and socially responsible. Complying with such criteria can make generating profit more difficult. Feed enzymes, especially phytases, can help overcome this challenge as they counteract the negative effect of the anti-nutrient phytate. Phytic acid is a molecule comprising 6 phosphate groups bound to inositol, the core of this molecule. It is present in all common plant-based feed ingredients as the storage form of phosphorus. It binds key nutrients like calcium, iron, and protein, creating the salt of phytic acid, which is named phytate.
When the phytic acid is ingested, it's a natural part of the seed material that forms the animal's diet, and that can interact with calcium, with magnesium, with zinc, with copper, and also with positively charged amino acids. That has a very negative impact on nutrient utilization by the animal. It results in a lot more environmental pollution, which makes environmental sustainability more challenging, and it has an impact on feed cost because the producers need to account for all of those negative effects by adding more nutrients to the diet than would otherwise be required.
Phytate, consumed by the broiler, eventually arrives into the stomach, where it is exposed to low pH conditions. Under these conditions, phytate is solubilized, releasing the bound calcium and amino acids and leaving phytic acid. Around 80% of this phytic acid is susceptible to destruction by phytases, but to destroy it effectively in the short period of time it is present in the stomach requires a microbial phytase, like rhonozyme hyphos, which can act much quicker than phytases produced by the animal or present in some ingredients. The more phytic acid that can be degraded in the stomach, the less there is to rebind calcium and protein as the pH rises in the small intestine, meaning more nutrients are available for the animal and less are excreted. Myo-inositol is also formed. This is a cyclical sugar alcohol with a formula like glucose. Forming the core of phytic acid, it is known to mimic insulin. This can be linked to improved growth performance in the broiler. To remove as much of the phytate as possible, we need to optimize the dose of rhonozyme hyphos in relation to the amount of phytate present in the feed. If there is too little rhonozyme hyphos for the amount of phytate present, important nutrients like calcium, iron, and protein will be wasted, costing money and damaging the environment. If there is too much rhonozyme hyphos for the amount of phytate present, you will see no additional effect from its addition, so this is a waste of money. Getting this balance right is the heart of DSM's intelligent phytase nutrition concept.
So the first step in intelligent phytase nutrition is to understand how much phytic acid you have in your diet. And of course that varies very substantially year to year, depends on the ingredients that you have. Even within an ingredient, there can be quite a lot of variability of phytic acid. So that is the first step, measuring and assessing how much phytate there is in a given diet. So how do you measure dietary phytic acid concentration?
En el pasado nos basábamos en la vía húmeda para la determinación de fósforo fítico, pero era un método lento y costoso. Actualmente tenemos la posibilidad de determinarlo por NIR, que es un método mucho más rápido, fiable y que requiere de una mínima inversión.
Near-infrared spectroscopy is a spectroscopic method that uses the near-infrared region of the electromagnetic spectrum. Typical applications include medical and physiological diagnostics, sports medicine, neonatal research, and food and agrochemical quality control. DSM has tested many thousands of samples of ingredients and feed by wet chemistry for phytate phosphorus and used this to create a robust phytate phosphorus NIR equation for ingredients and feed. This allows us to determine fast and cheap the amount of phytate phosphorus in a given raw material or feed.
Conociendo el nivel de fósforo fítico que tenemos en el pienso, es más fácil determinar la dosificación económicamente más atractiva de dsm-firmenich.
Okay, so let me try and give you an example. If you picture a standard graph with two axes, on the x-axis you have phytate phosphorus, so you've measured it, by NIR, whatever, goes from 0 perhaps to 0.3, 0.4%, and then on the y-axis you've got available or digestible phosphorus that you're going to release with your given dose of phytase. Within that geometric space that you've now mapped with your two axes, you can split that up broadly into three zones. So the first zone is where you've encountered a very low phytate diet, low phytate phosphorus or phytic acid concentration. And in those kind of diets, it doesn't make sense to have very high concentrations of phytase, because in that zone, what is actually limiting is your substrate concentration. You could add as much phytase as you like, you're never going to increase phosphorus release or get any of the extra phosphoric benefits from phytase. Substrate is limiting in that zone 1. Jump to zone 3, I'll come back to zone 2. Zone 3 now is where you have a high phytic acid concentration, and that is really creating a lot of opportunity. There's excess substrate there, and you could very easily benefit from further degradation of that substrate by adding higher levels of phytase. So in that zone, in zone 3, it's not substrate that is now limiting, but it's your phytase concentration. That's the enzyme-substrate relationship, very simply. Zone 1, the substrate is limiting. In zone 3, it's your phytase that is limiting. And it's about balancing the two to maximize the outcomes that you are looking for in your particular business. Zone 2 is your sweet spot, if you like. Zone 2 is where there's a perfect balance between the phytate concentration and your phytase dose. So for me, I would summarize zone 1 as a sense check. You need to be careful if you're in zone 1, because you might overestimate how much phosphorus you're actually getting from your phytase. If substrate is depleted very quickly, you may actually get less phosphorus than you're expecting. That's a sense check. In zone 3, it's more of an opportunity space. You're looking at, I've got a lot of substrate available, I want to elevate the phytase dose that I'm using in order to benefit from all of the effects that phytase can bring. The economic overlay then is feeding those pieces into your least cost formulation software that you can put a dollar value on all of these different components.
Intelligent Phytase Nutrition, IPN, is the DSM system of precision phytase dosing. By rapidly measuring phytate P level and accessibility and adjusting ronozyme-hyphos dose accordingly, it facilitates the efficient use of ronozyme-hyphos and optimum destruction of the anti-nutrient phytate. By implementing intelligent phytase nutrition, you can optimize feed formulation, and through this, minimize feed cost, maximize performance of your feeds, and help minimize your environmental footprint.